you. Thank you so much. You see, I told you I'd forget. Um, a lot of the program we've been looking at Western secular mindfulness, neuroscience, medical. By the way, this is a medical program. It's recognized by the Health Professions Council South Africa. And if you are a medical professional, you get CPD points. I don't know if no one here has applied or contacted me about that, but it is a medical program. It took me a long time. Damn it, let me just turn this phone off. Oh man, if it's not the duck, it's the phone. And my understanding of Jon Kabat-Zinn's work and how it's interpreted is limiting in many ways. However, Jon Kabat-Zinn himself is not, because when he speaks, I recognize so much, but the organizations that hold his work, they reach a certain level and they don't go any further. And it frustrates me a little bit, because mindfulness is so vast and so awesome in its entirety. So a big part of mindfulness is the mind. Ta-da! Surprise, surprise, mindfulness. And, you know, what is mind? Is it our brain? Where is mind? Is it in your head? Is it in your ear? Is it in your toe? Is it in your heart? Where is mind if you were to look for mind? Everybody goes, my mind, but is it really in your brain? Is mind and brain the same thing? And when we die, what carries on? Is it our mind? Is it our soul? What is soul? Is soul different from mind? Big questions. And we experience this reality through our mind and obviously our senses. But our mind interprets this reality and our world. So let's dive into it. If we think of a flower, a beautiful flower, let me just move this out the way. We think of a beautiful flower. What makes a flower beautiful? Is it the petals? Is it the stem? Is it that beautiful center? Or is it all the parts together? And if I took some of the petals out of the flower, would it still be beautiful? And at what stage does it stop becoming beautiful? And if you handed half a flower to a friend, would they be insulted? Even if you thought it was beautiful? There's a funny story that I may have told. So sorry if you've heard it before, but there's a wonderful Zen master by the name of Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's his story. I heard him say it, and I know that everything he says is multi-layered. So here we go. It's a story. I don't know if it's true. Doesn't matter. But the story goes that there was a man in Vietnam, because that's where Thich Nhat Hanh comes from, and then he settled in the United States. But there was a man called Hoi Fang, and he was a little bit crazy. He had very bad mental illness, and he was in a rural part of Vietnam. And Hoi Fang believed that he was a grain of corn, like a milli. So he was admitted, and he was in the hospital ward, but unfortunately, he stepped outside and there were two chickens. And they came walking around the corner. And as Hoi Fang saw these chickens, he screamed, "Bah!" And he ran into the jungle. And he was hiding. And it took the doctor and the nurses hours to find Hoi Fang. But they found him. And he was shivering. He was terrified. And they brought him back to the hospital. Now, Hoi Fang was scared of the chickens because if you're a grain of corn, you know, a chicken eats corn, right? It eats grains of corn. So that's like a nightmare for a grain of corn. Anyway, months go by and Hoi Fang has lots and lots of therapy until there comes the day where the doctor says, "Hoi Fang, are you a man or are you a grain of corn?" And he says, "I am a man, doctor. I can't believe that I ever thought that I was a grain of corn. You know, I must be completely mad, right? I must be completely mad. I'm a man." And the nurses and the doctor were like, "Yay, Hoi Fang, well done. You're a man. You know you're a man. That's such good news. So you can go home now." So Hoi Fang packs his bags and he walks outside, waves goodbye, and as he starts to make his way down the path, the two chickens walk around the corner. Bak, 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 bak. And Hoi Fang looks at them. He stops dead in his tracks and he screams. And he runs off into the jungle, leaving his luggage behind. He's terrified. And now the doctor and the nurses are perplexed. Hoi Fang. They find him hours later. They bring him back to the sanitarium. And they say, "Hoi Fang, this is so disappointing. You know, you said that you're a man, but now you still believe that you're a grain of corn." And he says, "No, I know that I'm a man. I know, Hoi Fang, I'm a man. But, doctor, do the chickens know?" Okay? So anyway, I don't know if anyone's heard that story before. But you see, this is what these masters do. They tell funny little koans. Koans, you know what a koan is? It's like a riddle. It's like a story, you know? And then it kind of like, okay, but then when you think about it, he knows he's a man, but now he's projecting and he's thinking, well, I'm thinking what the chickens must be thinking, but how does he know what the chickens are thinking? He's just making that up. And in a way, like, how do we know what other people are thinking about what they're thinking about us? And we start to fabricate and make up stories. So we make up a lot of stories, right? We do. We're great story maker-uppers, you know? Oh, we make up the most amazing stories. Don't think that you can't write a book. Don't think that you can't make up wonderful stories, because you are and you can. The human mind has this amazing ability to make up stories. Lots and lots of stories. And a lot of these stories come from our mind. Imagine your mind as being a soil, fertile ground. So what we do is we go in and we plant something. We plant an idea, we plant another story, and we You know, let me tell you, like, I I reached out to my colleague on Friday afternoon, sent him a WhatsApp message asking him a question. He didn't get back to me until Monday morning, and I started making up a story. I started thinking, there's something going on. There's something wrong. Maybe he's angry with me. What did I do? Why is he not responding? What's the story? And then in my mind on Monday morning, I'm anxious and nervous to talk to him. And I said, "Did you get my message?" And he said, "Yes, sorry, I've been in retreat the whole weekend. I was practicing digital detox. I was going to reply to you today." So then I'm relieved. And I go, digital detox. Meanwhile, in my mind, he hates me, which is not the case. But I made up that story, made up a big story. Have to catch yourself making these stories. Another big story that we make is that we think that reality is doing its thing without us. But our reality and our world depends on our mind and how we look at it. I listened to a band called the Foo Fighters, and there's Dave Grohl, who was the drummer for Nirvana. He's the lead singer, and he says this incredible quote. He says, "I play my song, and 85,000 people in the audience, they all hear something different. They all hear something else and something. The words in the song or the song means something to them and their situation. But the story that we make is that everybody is feeling what we are feeling, perhaps. When we look around and everyone's, yay, with their lighter and singing along, we all think, oh, maybe they feel the same way I do about the words, about the song, but they're all relating it to their story. Okay, here's a little riddle for you guys. Okay? And you're going to have to answer, like, anyway, let me start. This famous philosophical debate is by a philosopher by the name of Descartes. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And he says, if a tree in the forest falls over and there's no one around, okay, there's a tree, it falls over, there's no one around, there's no human being, there's no animal, nothing. Does it make a sound when it falls over? There's a tree, it's in the forest, there's no one around, the tree falls over. Does it make a sound as it falls over? Yes or no? Ron is saying no. I'm waiting for more comments. Yes. No. It's a tough one. There's a raging argument on the internet about it. Yeah, I know the answer is no, but my answer is yes. Internet. All right. Bron, you've got no. What's your answer? I mean, why do you say no?
Oh, I hope I'm not overthinking this, but I just figured that at a biochemical level, sound is a matter of frequencies that impact your body physically, your eardrum translates into the brain as sound. So if there's no person or living creature in the surroundings, then there can't be sound.
Yeah,
That's yeah, my logic.
yeah. That is the logic that I read online.
But there's a sorry, you
Yes,
didn't ask me this. But at the other side, we also know that plants in the earth are also living organisms. So I've never been a plant, or who knows? Maybe they do yet. I don't know.
I don't know. Do they have?
Counter argument, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. But do they have ears?
They
The-
don't, but they pick up frequencies and they're alive, so we don't know.
Yeah, so frequency is different to sound, isn't it?
It is. I'm just trying to. Yeah, I don't know, Mark.
Frequency and
Sticking to
vibration.
know.
So I mean, yeah, the ears transform vibration and frequency into sound. That's what ears.
Correct.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, there are trees and plants that could possibly be aware of frequency and
Mm.
vibration, but in this case, it's sound.
Okay,
No.
no, I stick to no.
Yeah. So I often think of like a tree on the moon. You know, Neil Armstrong's not there. No one's there. It's just a tree. The tree falls over on the moon, doesn't make a sound. There's nothing. It's space. If you fall over when there's nobody to hear, does your fall make a noise? Well, I think the plant kingdom resonate way higher than what we give them credit for. Yeah. But we're talking about sound. So maybe they pick up on other things that we don't pick up on, higher things, better things. I don't know. But we're talking specifically on sound. Why do we naturally normally think that a tree would make a sound when it falls without anything around with ears?
Okay, besides the fact that there's nothing around with ears, it hits the ground. It makes a sound. But
Who's
I
there?
guess nobody can hear the sound. Ron, you're amazing. You're so amazing.
No, I mean it's a really tough one, Varuna. I ran this question on Monday night, and every single person said, "Of course it makes a sound." Are you joking? Of course it makes a sound.
May I ask, I just want to ask, I think the answer will depend on what your definition of sound is.
Mm.
I
Well,
think the reason why people don't agree is because they don't agree on what sound is. Don't you think that's the reason? Because if you know what your definition of sound will answer the question easily.
yeah. Okay, I'll give you the definition according to the dictionary. This is from the Oxford Dictionary. It's a really good thing you said. This is the definition. Vibrations that travel through the air or another medium and can be heard when they reach a person or animal's ear.
Well,
That's,
if there's no person or animal, then the answer is no on that definition.
yeah.
And if the definition is different than that, and it caters for another scenario, then the answer might be yes. Isn't it that simple?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you're sticking to that definition, then there is no sound.
Yeah, it depends on what you see sound is, because people look at everything differently, and that therefore the answer will be different.
Correct.
But not because it's a right or wrong, it's because of your perspective of what sound is, I think.
Very good answer. Actually, that's the most original answer I've ever heard with regards to this debate. So, yeah, I mean, is there right or wrong answer? There's still a stalemate. So if you said yes, you might be right. If you said no, you might be right. And I think what Stefan is saying there as well is that with everybody has their own perception, everyone's their own understanding. I think what Descartes, I mean, why did Descartes do this? Why did he do this? What's his intention? Nobody knows.
I think to show people that we look at the same thing differently or listen to the same thing differently. I think that is, for me, that is the message.
Yeah,
To realize that there doesn't have to be a right or wrong, a yes or no, because it depends on your perspective in that moment, which of course can change also. So
correct.
I think that's my perception
Yeah,
of
yeah.
his intention. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I think with Stefan's answer, and it's a really smart answer, right? It's all about perspective and perception. I think from my point of view that Descartes was doing this to push people to think that you need awareness to be able to experience the universe. That don't think for a minute that the universe exists outside of your awareness. Okay? I had a Buddhist teacher that said, are you sure that there's still reality behind you, like a wall? Are you sure that your house still exists because you're not looking at it? Or does it start to exist the moment that you look at it? Now, if we study metaphysics, they say that matter can exist as a particle or a wave depending on the observer. So as you look at it, it changes nature. Did you hear that before? That's mind-blowing. Bron?
Mark, I just wanted to share a quick story because what you've just shared reminds me of, I think I was in Senate 9 or matric. At that time I was in boarding school and we had to write an English essay.
Yeah.
And it's like a creative thing. And I just decided to question reality, right? Like, and simple things like who said red is red? What if red was green? How did we get to the name? How did we get to the color? How did we socialize it? Boy, did I get into trouble to the extent where the rector was like the most senior priest, was called. I had to spend a weekend. I couldn't go home for that weekend because I was a weekly boarder. I had to stay in.
What?
And it had nothing to do with religion. It had nothing to do with, I was just like, this is creative essay, right? So I was like, well, let's talk about this reality. And yeah, I was in big, big trouble. Anyway, I just wanted to share it because
Yeah.
this reminds me of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a school in I think it's in Japan. They believe that there isn't any reality. All we are experiencing is mind. And that everything you touch is mind. Everything you feel, experience is mind. And there's nothing else. And if you look at quantum physics, we are all just quarks, which is the basic building block of matter. So if you think of everything as quarks, then it's kind of like easier to understand that. I don't know. I'm not saying that I believe that either. And it's a matter of perspective. But yeah, I'm sorry you got into such trouble. My word, what a conservative school. So the Asian masters, they talk about mindfulness. Their highest sort of story is to get you out of putting solid lines around things. For example, I was doing a retreat in Magaliesburg at Emoyeni, and then the Zen master from Nanhua Temple in Bronkhorstspruit came to visit. Taiwanese, straight from Taiwan, but big time, heavyweight Zen master from Taiwan. So now they arrive in this car, and he gets out of the car. He can't speak English. He's got an assistant and a translator. And I say, hello, you must be the Zen master. And then he says to me, yes. The translator says, yes, he says that he's the Zen master, but he also says that he's not the Zen master. I said, I don't understand. He said, there is no Zen master. It's just a concept. It's a label. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting way to say hello. And that's what they do. They constantly push you all the time to see things as your projection and as your label and your perspective. And it's not necessarily that is how it is. Pretty much what Stefan was saying. You know, I mean, you can imagine there's an accident, right? There's a car accident. This is always the case. There's the person in the one car, the person in the other car, and then there's the spectator. What is the reality of the car accident? There is no reality. All there is the reality of driver one, driver two, and those two realities could be completely different. It's their fault. No, it's their fault, their fault, their fault. And then there's the spectator, and it's their reality too, but they might not have witnessed it exactly or seen it properly, whatever that is. So to understand that there isn't a reality situation. It's just how people perceived it and how they experienced it. I hope I haven't lost you guys. There we go. So it's quite interesting. Yeah. There was a girl that I dated many, many years ago, and she was insanely jealous, and she thought that I was playing the field. She was a nice girl, but she was like, "You're cheating on me. You're cheating on me." I was like, "I'm not cheating on you. I would never do that. I'm loyal. I love you. I would never. No, you're a big player. You're a big player, and you. I know you're sleeping around." And I was like, I don't do that. I'm in love with you. But nonetheless, she didn't believe me. She followed me to work. She checked my phone. She would stalk me, stuff like that, to make sure what I was doing. And she never found anything because I wasn't doing anything. But she was insanely insecure, and the relationship ended. So a year later, she phoned me up. "Can we meet for coffee?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." We meet for coffee, and she says to me, "Okay, you can tell me the truth. Who did you sleep with? Like, what was her name?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about, Misty. I didn't cheat on you." And then she started crying. She was crying. So I say, "And now why are you crying?" She said, "I cheated on you. I had 2 other lovers when I was with you." And I was like, "What? How does this work? You like blaming me for cheating? I didn't cheat, but you cheated." So what do we call that? There's a word for it. Does anybody know the word for it? What she was doing to me.
Mark,
Yeah,
I want to say projecting.
that's it. Projection. She was projecting what she was doing onto me. So then I thought about this, and I thought, does that make her a bad person? No. And when we discussed it, it was obvious, because she said, "I'm sorry, but my father cheated on my mom. He had many different girlfriends, and my mom and dad got divorced. Then she said, then I had my first boyfriend at school. He cheated on me with my best friend. Then I got another boyfriend, and then he cheated on me. Then I got another boyfriend, and he cheated on me. Then I get you. And all I can think of is that men are lying bastards and they cheat on women. So I cheat on you because I know that you're going to cheat on me. It's sad. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. I hope that her understanding of men has changed. But it was sad for our relationship because it could have been nice. It could have been good. It must have been love, but it's over now. You know, but projection gets in the way. And it happens all the time. It didn't just happen then. It's happening every day to you, to me, to everybody, all the time. Everybody's projecting their stuff onto you. You like, we're like a blank screen, right? And then people project their stuff onto us. And we do the same to them. So do we really listen to someone? Do we really understand someone? Or are we just talking to a projected version of that person who's actually ourselves? Or they're kind of themselves, but they're mostly us. I don't know. Am I being confusing? So anyway, the mindful attitudes that we've been exploring in our journey has been non-reactivity, open-heartedness, and now we move into non-judgment. What is non-judgment? According to John Kabat-Zinn, right? Why should we not judge? I think it's very difficult not to judge. This is hot, that's cold, you know, pleasant, unpleasant. There's some things that are obvious that we can say yes. But I think what John is alluding to here is that we make up these stories in our minds about other people and we judge them. Are we sure that we are correct? And I think that's the most amazing thing about Jesus is like, you know, that story of the cast the first stone. He said, if you're free from sin, you can judge. So and no one threw the stone because everyone was like, okay, you got me. And the Buddha said the same thing. He said, if you're going to judge someone, you yourself will fall down. And to all my Dharma students, you'll know the story very well. So I'm going to repeat it again. But my teacher tells me that you need to hear this story about 10,000 times to fully understand it. What is this thing? It's a pen. Okay? Who has a little puppy dog at home? Anybody got a puppy dog? Or a naughty dog? Bron, what's its name?
Khaleesi.
Khaleesi.
Mm.
From Game of Thrones.
Yes. Mother of Dragons. She lives up to the name.
Is she blonde?
Almost.
Okay. So Khaleesi, the dog, if I go, hey Khaleesi, here's a pen, what will Khaleesi do?
She'll jump and bite it.
Yeah.
Snatch it. Yeah.
Khaleesi's gonna see this as a toy, a chew toy. Will Khaleesi ever see this as a pen?
No.
No. Is Khaleesi stupid?
No.
No. Why does Khaleesi not see this as a pen?
Oh gosh, she doesn't have to use it as a pen, as a tool.
Yeah. Doesn't have the capacity. And it functions. It won't function for Khaleesi as a pen. What it will function as is a chew toy. Is it a pen or is it a chew toy?
Both?
Both. Yes. Yes, it's both. How can this be both? So let's say if I put this on the table, and imagine my finger is the table, and all the dogs leave the room and all the humans leave the room. What is left here? There's no one looking at it. What is left?
A thing?
Sorry?
Just a thing.
Yes, a thing.
Hmm.
A cylindrical object.
Yo, Mark, this is hectic.
But you're doing really well, Bron.
Wow.
The humans leave the room and the dogs leave the room. As soon as a dog walks in, it becomes a chew toy.
Chew toy.
The dog leaves, the human walks in, it becomes a pen. Do you see a connection with the tree in the forest? I'm going to leave that there. Maybe there's a lady that lives in, what are those Eskimo places, countries, Iceland, or she lives in an igloo, never been to school, and you say, pen, and she goes, no, man, that's a hair tie. And she takes her long black hair and uses it as a hair tie. Never seen a pen before. And in fact, when you were a baby, this was a chew toy to you as well. Until you were taught that this is a pen. Do you remember the cow that we did last week? The test looking for the cow? Do you guys remember? The cow face, and you're like, I don't know, it looks like snow, but we drew a line around it and we're like, there's the cow. We just drew a line around it, and then I influenced your perception. Oh, there's the cow. Then you can't unsee the cow. But before, you didn't see the cow, some of you. And it could be anything until somebody said, oh, you see, that's what it is. Why is this important, and who cares? It's important because some people that you work with and live with appear pleasant, nice, and some people appear horrible, disgusting, boring, irritating. Take that person at work that's irritating. The question is, does everybody at work see them as irritating? Maybe they do. And then when they go home to their family and they open the door, do their children see them as irritating? Does their dog see them as irritating? No, probably not. So where is that irritating person coming from? You know, I've had many conversations with colleagues, and I'll say, this boss is a real asshole. And then they're like, no, I actually quite like them. I think they're nice. I don't understand why you see that. And you go, but they are an asshole. And they're like, no. Or maybe sometimes you say they're an asshole and people go, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how you see that. So what we do is when we label somebody or we speak gossip, divisive, slander, we then skew reality for somebody else. And that's why it's so harmful to do that. So it's so harmful. Just because you don't like that person doesn't mean that they are a bad person. Okay? I mean, somebody loves them, right? Somebody thinks they're wonderful. Does that make them a bad person because you see them in that way or because you had a bad experience? Now, people hurt people, and there's no excuse for violence, and there's no excuse for the way that people behave. But we don't know what's behind them. We don't know what's underneath them, as we explored in the previous class on compassion and understanding. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, he says, compassion is born from understanding, and understanding is the result of looking deeply. Okay, I'll say that again. Compassion is born from understanding, and understanding is the result of looking deeply. Looking deeply is an act of mindful awareness. When we look deeply, compassion will grow. When we don't look deeply, then we're left with resentment and anger. But when we look deeply, we might come to some understanding of why this person has behaved in the way that they do. But if we don't look deeply, we will judge them. We also looked in the compassion class last week about the term cognitive fusion, psychological term, when we fuse someone with a negative quality or a positive quality. That person is awesome. That person is divine. That person is bad. That person is evil. Okay, this is not reality. We cannot say these things. Why? Because that person can change, which means that they are not inherently bad, evil, stupid, ignorant, whatever you call them. And they may not be like that all the time. In fact, even Adolf Hitler was nice to be around and kind and loving to his friends and family and his henchmen and his countrymen. Okay? Yet his actions were atrocious. So in the mindful school of non-judgment, we say their behavior is appalling, but it's not that they are appalling, it's their behavior. Their behavior is harmful, but they are not harmful. You see? Because one day they may not be harmful. And maybe they won't be harmful tomorrow, but today they're harmful. Does that make sense? Any questions or comments on that? You know, a murderer that gets put into jail might spend 30 years in prison. They might start practicing mindfulness. They might turn to religion. They may come out of prison and become a pastor or a holy person. Okay? We know that. We can't call them evil at that point. Okay? And we do it to ourselves as well. We do it to ourselves. We have this idea of ourself. And I think such a cool game to play would be like to get 10 friends in a room and ask each of them what they think of you and what they see. I think you'll be amazed at the feedback that you get. And I think that would be one of the most brilliant things to do. You know, like a game, instead of playing 30 seconds, just, and you know, it's like a dangerous game, right? A friend of mine played it. My friend Michael Knight, he played this with family, and ooh, the stuff that came up was hardcore, man, hardcore. But he said it was one of the most profound games they've ever played. They went around, the whole family, and each family member had to comment on a person and then move to another person. And the comments were radically different. Some of them, not all of them matched up. Some were contradictory. Again, proving that we experience people from our own point of view. We experience reality from our own point of view. Chutoy. Pen. Chutoy. Duck. Oh, I love this class. Anyway, I don't even know if you guys are you still there? Are you still listening?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
100%. So we use mindfulness, which is the magnifying glass, and we've been working on polishing our magnifying glass. But magnifying glass on its own is okay, but we need to focus on something. That's why there's a diamond. You see the diamond heart. The diamond symbolizes non-judgment. The diamond symbolizes curiosity. Because if your mind is curious and non-judgmental, oh wow, that represents wisdom. In the mindfulness schools of Asia, non-judgment, open-mindedness, and curiosity is wisdom. That's wisdom. Krishnamurti, who was a famous Indian scholar and philosopher, said, the highest form of intelligence is to observe without judging. Now, we've been doing our mindfulness journey up until this point, and every single class, somehow we've been touching on that theme, to observe but not judge. Don't judge yourself for being crazy. Don't judge others. Just enjoy the process. It's been building up to this moment, right? Where Krishnamurti said the highest form of intelligence is to observe and not judge. And that's going to be a game changer. It's our judgments that cause our suffering. It's our judgments that cause conflict. It's our judgments that pervert and warp reality. And if you agree or disagree, we'd love to hear. Antoinette, how's this cat? Beautiful, eh?
Absolutely beautiful. Mark, I wanted to, maybe you asked me now and I am online, and I just wanted to say that for me, I so often see, and I've learned through my own things, that we hurt ourselves more than what people actually can hurt us.
Correct. We do.
And it's our perspectives, it's our judgment, it's judgment on others, judgment on ourselves, perspectives of, a lot of it is not even true.
Absolutely.
And so we hurt ourselves. We're the primary
100%.
biggest hurt. Yeah.
100%.
And we just need to, if we can realize that, then we can change it.
I've had 1.5 years to reflect on my divorce. And I can honestly say it's been such a shit show of judgment. judgment from my side, judgment from my ex, judgment from her family, and none of it is real. None of it. None of it makes sense. It's all illusion. And that's what the frustrating thing is about my divorce, is that it's just smoke and mirrors. And people's perceptions that they held onto so strongly that they fought to make it real. And I include myself in that. Because if I look back, it was all damn silly. And we should all just have a big fat laugh about it, because it was an incredible Oscar nomination theatrical play. And then it lands up in a divorce. It was just a big fat play. A play of ego. I'm right, you wrong. The play of judgment. And with curiosity comes this beautiful patience, to be patient with others, to understand others. I've got, why have I got this cat in this picture? They say curiosity killed the cat. I don't even understand that. I think that makes curiosity sound bad. It's not. Albert Einstein said, I am not that smart. I am passionately curious. Right? There's so many beautiful curiosity quotes. I can't remember them all now. So when we talk about projection and reality, it's like you're sitting in a movie house and you're all alone, and you're watching the movie on the screen, and the movie is your life, and it's playing itself out, and it's kind of just a movie, and the problem is we think that it's out there on the screen, but it's more coming from the projector at the back of the movie house. It's not really on the screen. It's coming from the projector. The projector is projecting a pen. If this was really a pen, Khaleesi, what's it? Khaleesi. Is that right, Bron? Khaleesi? If
Yes,
this,
that's right.
if this was really a pen, Khaleesi would write a letter to Khaleesi's boyfriend dog. But it's not a pen. It's a chew toy to Khaleesi. This is your projection based on your conditioning and your education, but it's still a projection. It doesn't exist by its own side as a pen. Okay? If it did, then Khaleesi would write with it. I know it's a silly example, but you got to hear it like, my teacher said, you got to hear it like 1,000 times for it to make complete and utter sense. I want to play you a little video, and here is Jon Kabat-Zinn, okay? Jon Kabat-Zinn, the dude himself that we've been exploring the definition from, okay? Here he is. Check this video out.
My name is Jon Kabat-Zinn. My working definition, or what I call operational definition of mindfulness, is it's the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And then I sometimes put in the service of self-understanding and wisdom. We all take ourselves too seriously because we believe that there is someone to take seriously. That me, we become the star of our own movie. The story of me, starring, of course, me. And everybody else becomes a bit player in our movie. And then we forget that it's a fabrication, it's a construction, and that it's not a movie, and that there's no you that you can actually find if you were to sort of start to peel back. Well, are you your name? Are you your age? Are you your thoughts? Are you your opinions? Are you even your genetic inheritance? Even your genes, if you meditate or eat differently, they're going to be expressed by the hundreds differently. So you're not even your genetic inheritance. So who are you? And here's where the rubber really meets the road. The question is much more important than the dime store answers that we come up with. So then we can notice this phenomenon called selfing. How much of our time we are running the narrative of I, me, and mine, which is now being identified with certain regions of the brain that do that narrative default mode kind of thing. And then mindfulness, MBSR, has been shown to actually light up other areas, or more lateral areas, where there's no more story of me. It's just this breath, that out breath, and it's not me breathing either. If it was up to me to be breathing, I would have died a long time ago. Whoops, got distracted, forgot, dead.
Don't you just love that? If it was up to me to be breathing, I'd be dead because I'd forget. So true. It's not even you that's breathing. Anyway, I'm going back to Stefan's comment. Well, what is a you and what is the definition of a you? I don't know. What is a you? What is the definition of who you are? It's all your definition. There is no definition. It's your definition. Okay? Who am I? We ask ourselves the question, who am I? It's probably the most difficult question in the universe. Every time I ask people this question, they're like, go blank. They're like, I'm a mom, I'm a worker, I'm a business lady, I'm a lover, I don't know anymore. What am I? Who am I? Okay? It's a big question. The deeper you go, and I think that's what Jon Kabat-Zinn is saying, it's not so much about the answer, it's about the question. It's about the question. Doesn't matter about the answer. Okay. Any questions? Anybody want to attempt to answer who they are? The Lebs in Joburg are quite good at this. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Tell him who I am. Oh, yeah. Okay. I grew up with some of the Lebs in the South, you know. Whenever they get into a fight, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? So let's get into a meditation on non-judgment, on curiosity. We're going to practice it now live, okay? A non-judgment. There's many ways we can approach non-judgment. Thanks, Internet. I enjoy this class. Maybe that's why it's a good class. It's my favorite one. What is real? Who am I? Who are you? What the hell? What the heaven? Let's get into the practice, okay? 2 feet on the ground, or you can sit cross-legged. And we're going to take a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose. And breathe it out the mouth. And now we're going to focus on sound. Whatever sounds are happening in your immediate vicinity, we're going to make a note of them. And it might even be the sound of your own breath. When the mind gets distracted, gently bring it back to the arising of sound and whatever sounds are occurring. Let us extend our awareness out further, sounds far away. Now, let's observe our judgment. Are some sounds pleasant? And are some sounds unpleasant? Or just perhaps neutral? now that we've determined that some are not pleasant and some are pleasant and some are neutral, ask yourself the question, does everybody think that this is unpleasant? Does everybody think that that's pleasant? Does everybody think that's neutral? Okay, let's take in a nice deep breath to end this practice. And release. The sound of wisdom. That's the name of the meditation. Stefan, when did you start riding motorbikes?
I just want to say my bike's name is also Khaleesi. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
I'm sure.
I feel bad of them. About 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 8 years ago. But I'm driving a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
So,
my happy place.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I ride every day, but I don't really have a car. So before I started riding motorbikes, when I heard loud motorbikes, I was annoyed.
Mm. Especially Harley Davidsons, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They are the best, yeah,
They
they
are the
are,
worst. They're so loud.
yeah,
But
they
now,
are.
because I'm a bike enthusiast, if I hear a bike outside riding past, instead of feeling annoyed or irritated, I think, what is that? Is that
Cu-
that's
Curiosity,
curiosity?
yeah,
Sounds like a
yeah.
KTM. Sounds like a KTM.
Mm,
Sounds like a Triumph. Sounds like a BM.
mm,
Oh, I like that one. I like that, you know. So
mm.
for me now, the sound of a motorbike is actually quite pleasing. Whereas before, it was annoying. But that's because I became a bike enthusiast.
Mm. So it shifted, eh?
It shifted. You see the judgments, the labels.
Mm.
I change myself, the outside world changes. It's a silly example, but
Yeah, it's a good example.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
Of course, it's the principle.
It's the principle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love everything.
Of course you do. That's why you're so
Mm.
happy. It's the yeah, and I think we get this concept. You know, it's a tough concept, but I know that we get this. Homework is going to be to take a pip or a seed. You don't have to go to the nursery. If you want to, you can, but to plant something in a pot. Why? Because if I become a motorbike enthusiast, I am planting seeds for that. Then my reality changes. Then I don't mind the sound of motorbikes, okay? If I plant mindful awareness, if I plant something in my mind, that's going to come to fruition. If I plant curiosity and I nurture curiosity, that's going to eliminate a lot of my mental afflictions and my anger and my annoyance and my judgments. So what kind of mind would you like to plant? Because mind is just this thing, right? But we keep on planting it. We plant it and it comes to fruition. The seeds we sow, we reap. Your mind is also a seed. And your experience and reality is what you reap. So homework is to plant something and watch it grow. Nurture it, watch it grow. And think that your thoughts and your projections and your reality is the same according to mindfulness. The journal practice, we move to non-judgment, or the positive of that is curiosity. Have I been non-judgmental today? Have I been judgmental, or have I been curious? Let's plant curiosity. Let's plant non-judgment. And then on the other page, who am I today? We're taking the question, who am I? Tough question. Let's make it easier. Who am I today? That's easier to answer. You may find that you are a different person from day to day, or you may not find it, but that's your journey. And that's your journal journey. Journal journey. I like that. Journal journey. Yeah, journal journey. Journal journey. That's your journal journey. Ducky also likes that. Is it a duck or is it not a duck? That's your journal journey. And that's your homework, friends. Plant something. The homework of meditation, of listening, and journaling. Okay, I'll send you a WhatsApp in the morning. Let's see. Thank you, Antoinette. I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Okay, let's end there. Thank you, everyone. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. How's that for timing? Punctuality, one of my values. We will see you for the last class next week. And then, for those of you that are doing the teacher training, we have Oriel on the 6th of June. That's 2 weeks from now. And Danielle. She couldn't make it tonight. Okay? So that's why we recorded this. Oriel and Danielle. Oriel, we're going to have to set up some time so that I can help you with your presentation. And Danielle as well. I know Danielle will watch the recording. Okay?
Happiness.
Good, good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share this information, this knowledge with you. I didn't suck it out of my thumb. It's a pretty rare. You won't get too many mindfulness teachers teaching you this stuff. I promise you, you won't. So it's quite rare. Just lucky, I guess. Have a good week, everyone. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you next week, okay?
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye now.